right. Welcome back to the show. And we're going to build on the Bitcoin course launch. Again, bitcoinforvetmed.com in the show notes. I want to share some thoughts that are applicable to everyone listening, regardless of where you're at today. And I know that there are lots of podcasts to listen to. So before you tune me out and say this again, I'm not going to bury the lead. I'm going to give you, hey, these are things I want to talk about, why I think that's important, and then you can get some value hopefully throughout the podcast. So I'm going to cover how practice owners can accept Bitcoin today, incentivize new customers, and market that they accept Bitcoin, right? So bring in revenue. I will cover how a veterinarian can save for the tax bomb by leveraging Bitcoin savings and allow the monetization to just happen. And they can actually have more cash flow for the rest of, either savings into other assets or just life to go do other fun things, which I think is super important. I'll cover an idea for an independent practice owner to save into Bitcoin, how this will allow them to offer more lucrative benefits, maybe to their team, associate DVMs, recruiting, pay, all that stuff. So let's chat on that. And then also relief veterinarians. I'm not going to forget about you. You can normalize asking to be paid in Bitcoin, all while allowing ACH and credit card options as well. So hopefully that's an episode worth listening to, right? So let's dive in. And so as the influx of demand starts to slow within veterinary medicine, I think marketing will have to come back into the fold in the forefront of everyone's mind. So first, I'm going to give tactics. This is not a marketing strategy. It's very different. There's people out there that do, full-fledged marketing strategies. That's great. You should pay people for that. This is not what it is. So I'm going to give you a tactic. It's going to cost you $0. It could possibly be, saving you or making money while you're marketing, which I think is kind of a cool concept, and it's going to bring value to your practice. So first, how can I accept Bitcoin? And I'm going to just share my screen. We're going to go through a lot of different things. So for those that are listening audio only, I apologize because we are going to share on some different things. Ideas that are out there. So how can I accept, Bitcoin payments? So I'm going to bounce around. I have a bunch of tabs open already. But the first one is IBEX Pay. So if you look at IBEX, it is ridiculously easy. You can go from I don't know anything to I can offer a QR code to have someone pay me over the Lightning Network, which is Bitcoin, within 7 minutes, which is wild. And it has full functionality to give access to anyone that can click and scan a QR code to accept payment. So someone on the front desk, they have a phone. Yes. They have an iPad. Yes. They have a computer monitor, any of that stuff. They can easily accept it. You do not need to train and do a bunch of extra things. It's just, hey, someone wants to pay in Bitcoin. This is what you do. This is what you show them. Training is beyond easy. And so this also allows you to cut down on merchant processing fees. So anytime you accept payment this way, you're also saving money, which is cool. And I think that's great. And I think you probably think that's great as well. So that is really, really important. So you go from, anytime someone swipes a credit card, which is the vast majority of how people are paying today, they're going to pay you, or you're going to eat that fee of, call it two and a quarter, 2.5, if you're lucky, and if you're good, to upwards to 3%. IBEX right here is going to show you it's 0.5%. Now, again, there's other ways to do it. IBEX just makes it ridiculously easy, so they do charge for that. So you're like, hey, cool, Isaiah, I thought you said this was marketing. I did. The next step would be saying, okay, I have an Oshi account. I've talked about Oshi before. I've actually interviewed Michael Atwood, episode 180. One cool thing about Oshi that they're bringing out this fall is that you can offer rewards in Bitcoin that are redeemable versus points or discounts that are only usable at your clinic. What does this mean? It means that folks can take the rewards from you in Bitcoin and they can go buy their dinner right after. It's interoperable, and the interoperable reward system from that standpoint is massive for customers that get it. Now, will everyone get it day one? Absolutely not. But what Oshi also allows is for specials. And so there's going to be folks that are Bitcoin holders that use the Oshi app to search for vendors, and you can be, on there supported. People are going to find you and they will come see you because there are weirdos like myself that want to support Bitcoin related businesses, and they will come and see you because of that. I wish more folks in Central Indiana were using it, but I'm working on changing that and doing the best that I can. So like in Field of Dreams, which may be aging myself, but it was one of my dad's favorite films. If you build it, they will come. Also, the other thing that you can do is you can list on BTC Map. It's free. It's really easy. And it gives people that are looking for, hey, where can I, use Bitcoin for different services? Easy. They can find you. So that's another easy way to be listed. Okay, so we did all those things and it costs you $0. And actually, if you're using IBEX versus a credit card, you're saving money. So we'll take that as a win. Now, okay, great. I accept Bitcoin. I do this Oshi thing, but no one's coming. I think you need to temper expectations. It's not like you're going to get a massive, overwhelming demand of people that are going to come. But I think one way to supercharge that would be to look at Bitcoin meetups in your area. Two good sources, bitcoinonly.com/meetups. This will show you, and I'm bringing it up on the screen if it'll load here slowly. And again, this is for folks in other countries as well. You can leverage it if you're listening from outside the United States. But in the US, you can see, hey, in Indiana, there is, where's India? It's not in alphabetical order. You can see, hey, it's in Indianapolis. Here's the Twitter account that it's there. You can find out where they're meeting at: Kansas City, Holly Springs, North Carolina, Houston, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, Little Rock, Arkansas, like all these different places that you could, if you have a practice near these places, go and tell them and say, hey, we are, a veterinary clinic that is accepting Bitcoin, and that'll get around. And what is really cool, and what I would encourage you is be genuine. You're going to go learn something, which is great, and you can meet some interesting people. It's not like you need to be a regular and you're there all the time, but if you tell them, you join, you come occasionally, you just are saying, hey, I want to support what you all are doing, I guarantee you, they will go out of their way to support you. They're going to be really loyal. And even their non-Bitcoin owning friends and family will get told about you. And that can bring in business that is just normal business, not even the wild, crazy Bitcoin people. So what about building on that? So, okay, we have our marketing strategy. It cost me $0. I'm taking some of my time. Yes. Maybe it's an evening. Yes. I'm going to go and listen to some people talk about Bitcoin that are maybe more excited than I am, but it is business back to me, and you're telling them. And this is what a lot of folks in Bitcoin call a circular economy, where they can earn Bitcoin, they can buy Bitcoin, and they can use it for everyday things they need. And a lot of Bitcoiners have pets. A lot of people have pets, and they want to be able to leverage that. So just know that I think there is a huge untapped market out there. So let's build on that. You have some Bitcoin, people are paying you in it. And as a practice owner, you're like, okay, cool. Now what? All my bills are in dollars. This isn't really helpful. What percentage do you think it's going to be that's going to be in Bitcoin? I will tell you, and as much as I want to be super optimistic, it's going to be sub 5%. So the idea that you're going to need to convert back to dollars right away is probably not needed, as I think the demand's going to trickle in, and it's not going to like interrupt your cash flow where you're not able to make payments and all that other stuff. If you're razor thin and barely able to get by, yes, it's probably not going to be the thing that you want to do and hold Bitcoin, because it's going to have, a short-term volatility for long-term. It's a long-term savings mechanism and just much better money. Again, I get into a ton of that and unpack so many of the different pushbacks on all that within the course, but I'm not going to rehash a lot of that discussion now and derail. But let's look at the numbers of what it could do for your business. So if we look back historically, and I'm using Bill, which is an ETF for short-term cash. And so what this is going to show you is if you had 100% in Bill, you would have, since January 2015 through basically August, so the beginning of this month, you'd have a 9% return on that money over time. So you're basically making 1% a year if you're lucky. But what if you had some Bitcoin and you never rebalanced? So rebalancing being like, hey, you're selling it, you're doing different things. And let's say you just bought it and held it from January 5th, 2015. Again, past performance doesn't guarantee future results, but this is a really interesting kind of idea where if you just held 1% at the beginning, and again, timing is everything. We can run it from any time that you want to see it. All of a sudden, it goes from a 9% return to 102. And what I think is really, really interesting is you can see your allocation. If you just hold a 1% Bitcoin allocation and then never rebalanced over time, it goes from that 1%, right? And it goes up to 40% of what you held. And this would just be your static cash allocation. And if you do 5, it grows even more. It goes to basically 80%. And this would be if you never rebalance. And I think if you got up to an 80% allocation, obviously you're going to be like, hey, that's a lot of Bitcoin. Maybe I don't want that much. Or maybe you're like, hey, I can run my business on this. And there are ways to do it, but I'm not going to get into that. And you have to be intellectually interested. And I know you have a million other things going on. But just if you are able to hold Bitcoin, even in a small allocation, it will grow over time. And that's with an 80% drawdown and another 70% drawdown. You can see that, right? Peaks, troughs. And you're going to be earning it over time. So you're going to be dollar cost averaging. But what if you rebalanced annually? If you can improve the health of an animal, you do it, right? Of course. That's what makes veterinarian special. You're mission driven. My friends at LifeLearn are the exact same way. For over 25 years, they've been partnering with you and your peers, providing affordable, customizable, online software solutions. These solutions save time, increase efficiency, and assist in managing all aspects of operations.
Why? They want to help you improve your partnership with pet owners to improve pet health. LifeLearn has award-winning digital media solutions and are leading the pack as they've prioritized having extensive veterinary knowledge throughout their teams. That difference is seen, it's heard, and it's read by thousands of people across the country. Relax, grow, and thrive with LifeLearn. Click the link in the show notes for an exclusive offer to see how LifeLearn can allow you to get back to what you do best.
And let's just say, hey, every year I'm going to come back to a 1% allocation, a 5% allocation, a 10% allocation. Okay, that's probably a little bit more normal. And that's probably Isaiah being a little bit more fair with this interpretation. So again, same thing. You have Bill, 9%, 1% return annually. Then you go, and all of a sudden you have a 3% return annually. A 5% allocation to Bitcoin, all of a sudden you have a return that's over 10% per year. Your purchasing power is growing by quite a bit, well over and above inflation. And what's really fascinating is I just looked, I'm like, that's pretty close to probably what the S&P's done over that time frame. So I pulled that up and I said, okay, what's the S&P done over that time frame? Well, the S&P's done, and this is 100% in the stock market, 11.73. So you're telling me if I just hold cash and had a 5% allocation to Bitcoin, I can almost get the exact same return as the S&P? And the answer is yes, you can. Historically, again, all kinds of qualifiers around that. And again, I'm going to make some assumptions as we go through this. But if you just said, hey, I'm going to earn this thing, I'm going to hold this thing, and then if it gets above a 5% of my total cash I have on hand, maybe I sell it. Maybe I do something with it. All right, that's cool. I think the growth of purchasing power, that gives you a lot of options, which leads into the next piece. How does this translate to staff, associate DVMs, and maybe just other things within your business? What if your reserves actually grew instead of shrank? Instead of this idea of like, well, I got to grow by X% every year to keep up with inflation and my raising costs and all that other stuff. Bitcoin helps solve for that, right? Because if what the value that you created can actually grow alongside that, or even bigger than what your costs are, that gives you a huge benefit to, your competitors, your peers, just as a business. You're just way more resilient and robust, and a little bit goes a long way. So let's think about, what if you could pay your team more? What if you bonus them in Bitcoin? What if you even set some aside, a la a Bitcoin benefit plan? And you might say, well, what's a Bitcoin benefit plan? So you can do this yourself. And maybe you do this versus a 401k because the headaches are less. But Swan Bitcoin actually offers a Swan benefit or Bitcoin benefit plan. They do some educational stuff alongside of it, but you can actually save and put money aside for your team in Bitcoin. And so if you're earning it, maybe that's a way that you do it. Maybe that's how you bonus things out. Hey, if we hit X this revenue growth, or we hit, profitability, or we hit these different things, I'm going to actually give you Bitcoin and we're going to hold it for you. And then when you're ready, you can actually take self-custody. You can DIY it as well if you're intellectually interested. It wouldn't be that difficult, but you can also leverage Swan to take it completely off your plate. Easy peasy. For an associate DVM, you want to hire, it's competitive, and you're like, dang, I cannot get the person I want. Maybe you tell them, hey, if you stay X amount of years, I will pay off your student loan tax bomb. All you need to do is make your student loan payment. You don't need to save any extra. I will cover that. Yeah, I know you're going to owe $80,000, $90,000. I'm going to break down the math later on for the associates, but you could literally set aside a small amount of money today in Bitcoin and allow the monetization of that asset to grow, and then send it to them when the bill is due. And if they don't stay, you have more Bitcoin. So it's a win-win, and it helps alleviate stress on the associates part. They know I make X, I can save, I can have a lifestyle, I can pay down other things. I don't have to worry about my debt. I just make my payment, and I know that, Dr. Isaiah's got my back. He's going to cover that cost in the future if I stay with him for whatever amount of years you want to run it as, right? Maybe it's negotiable. They don't even need to know or care about Bitcoin. You have that knowledge, and you can just save in better money. So you can also provide bonuses to the team, as I talked about, and use those funds. And you can show that you actually care about them by being like, hey, we're going to use better money. I want to make sure that you actually have a ability to save and bring in educational resources for them. And then your salaries for not only yourself, but your team are all denominated in dollars. Versus if you have Bitcoin on your balance sheet, those wages will tend to be lower. So if you measure, hey, my $120,000 salary for the associate veterinarian that I have, in Bitcoin terms is going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper over time. Pretty cool. So you can actually afford to maybe pay them more, or pay them more competitively than your peers in the community and those pesky corporate groups if you're a private practice owner. Knock, knock. I think corporate groups will be late to this, but they're going to do that at some point because, again, incentives drive everything. If you can actually pay and retain talent because you're using better money, everyone's going to take notice of that. So if you're an associate and you heard the above and you like the idea of the tax bond savings, but you're like, no way that current owner, or maybe you're at one of those pesky corporate groups, there's no way they're going to offer that to me, or there's no way that I can do that. But what if I want to do it on my own? Well, let's run through the math and help you get an ideal amount set aside. I'm going to make some assumptions here, but a little allocation goes a long way. So let's say you have a 20-year payback period. And I'm going to bring up on the screen just a compounding annual growth calculator as I talk through this. Whoops, and it doesn't like it because let's redo that. But anyways, I'm going to show you the idea of you have a 20-year payback period, and we're starting day one. How much would I need to set aside? So since 2014, the compounding annual growth rate of Bitcoin has been just under 60. If you look at let's say it has a law of diminishing returns, and even if you look at rolling 4-year compounding annual growth rates within Bitcoin, it's usually north of 30. I'm going to argue that because it's a scarce asset and it's early in the adoption cycle, the diminishing return argument actually doesn't hold a lot of weight here. But again, that gets into nuance that we're not going to cover on this podcast. However, let's conservatively say Bitcoin gives you a 25% compound annual growth rate, which I get is high. That sounds loony. That's some of the best investors out there would love to see that over a 20-year time frame. I think that is extremely doable. So you got to understand what Bitcoin is and what makes that happen. Again, in the course and some of the stuff that I do, I unpack a lot of this, why I feel the way that I do, and back it up with some what I think is legitimate arguments and some math as well. Anyways, let's say it's 25% and it's been 60. So we're taking a haircut on that. Today, what do you need to set aside? You need to save a whopping one-time $1,000 today. And you could literally even say, I'm going to save $100 a month for a year, assuming the price of Bitcoin doesn't wildly move upwards. And then you can save the remainder in any other alternative asset that you want, stocks, bonds, whatever, in case I am dead wrong. But today, if you owed $90,000 as a tax bomb in the future, you do the calculation, you're like, hey, Venn calculator's telling me I owe 90K. Shoot, I got to save for $90,000. That's a lot. What do you need to set aside today? It's $1,000. Set aside $1,000 one time. So maybe that is part of your bonus, your sign-on bonus. Take $1,000 from that, buy some Bitcoin, set it aside, and your tax bomb is covered. Again, if I am correct on where Bitcoin goes, and or if it gives you a compounding annual growth rate of 25% or more. You might say, that's crazy, that's insane, why would I ever do that? But again, it gives you the freedom and flexibility to save everything else in another asset. You need one time $1,000. That is all I'm asking. That's all I'm encouraging, and you can solve for that dang thing. What does that do? That frees you up for all kinds of other things. You want to buy a house, save in other things. Maybe you should save in Bitcoin as well. But it's a one-time $1,000, set it aside, hold it for 20 years. Don't touch it. Don't even look at it, right? Let it do its thing. Let it go through the monetization process. If you wanted to hit that with the S&P 500 with, let's say this S&P over the next 20 years does, 10%, you need to start with $15,000 to get to your 90. Massive, massive difference of what that compounding does. So Bitcoin allows for life to get easier and cheaper. And last but not least, the relief veterinarians out there, I do have something for you. I don't want to ignore it. And there's a ton of you out there doing some cool things. And so there's a great tool that you can use to invoice. And you can do this today, whether they accept Bitcoin or not. You can normalize it if you want to start including it. Just let people see it on an invoice. And that's ZapRight. And so I got ZapRight up here on the screen. And first, if you know that there's a hospital out there that is doing some of the things I talked about above and they're accepting Bitcoin and you like them, go work there and then ask them to pay you in Bitcoin. And that's an easy way, right? They're bringing in Bitcoin, they're paying out for their veterinary care. And that could be a great way for all parties to be happy. And ZapRight allows you the options to, again, normalize asking for Bitcoin. You can set your rates for ACH and Bitcoin, maybe at one threshold. You're like, hey, I don't care if you want to pay me in cash and ACH, cool. Bitcoin, cool, great. If you want to pay with credit card, I'm going to give you that option, but you're going to pay a 5% premium. You don't want to eat the Stripe fees of 3%. And that, again, is incentives to drive people to pay in a different way. And then you can turn your earnings into Bitcoin without buying it. You're just saying, hey, the work that I do at your hospital is worth Bitcoin and I want to be paid in that. It's better money. It's not something that can be devalued. My time and energy is valuable. So please pay me this way. And it will be coming if I have anything to do with it, because I'm going to keep talking about this topic. And it's an asset that you can hold in your business because you are the business and the business is you. And it will allow you for lots of options. I know lots of relief veterinarians that want flexibility, right? Sabbaticals, time away, work in different parts of the country. Some parts of the country are way more expensive than others. Bitcoin can allow that to happen and be easier, where you can work your tail off, saving better money, and be like, hey, by the way, I have a good, stock of savings. I can actually go do my own thing. And you know what? This will actually continue to grow over time because Bitcoin is better money and they can't devalue it. And so I'm going to hold just Bitcoin as my business to allow me to run and do the things I want to do. And it can shorten the time that you actually have to be a relief veterinarian as well. Maybe you don't have to work as long. Maybe you get to work optional much, much quicker. So that's a wrap on this week's episode. I would love thoughts and feedback. If you think I'm wild out there, this makes no sense, you have pushback, let me know. And again, the detailed knowledge, conviction, all that stuff around Bitcoin that I have created to help get you to that headspace where I'm at can be found at bitcoinforvetmed.com. Please take advantage of the discount through August 14th. It's 50% off. I am trying to give you this knowledge and incentivize you to take it a hard look, because it's going to be impactful and you're going to want to own this as an asset. But you can actually earn it and you can start to change the way that maybe you run your business. And so that was the other thing that I wanted this week's episode to be, is to build on that, but also say, okay, in an applicable environment today, how can I start doing these? How can I start earning it versus even having to buy it, which is pretty cool. Recruiting team members in your veterinary practice has never been this hard. You can either bury your head in the sand and hope it goes away, or adapt. Enter Guardian Vets. By leveraging best-in-class technology, you can empower your staff and reduce their workload. Help reduce burnout. You also provide a better experience for your clients and patients, which you want to do as you serve them. The solutions Guardian Vets offers includes after-hours triage, virtual CSRs, that know your team and processes, telemedicine, and so much more. Become the employer of choice in your area by offering the best tools to position your team for success. Whether you're starting a de novo clinic, multi-doctor, or multi-location, Guardian Vets can help you be more efficient and effective. Go to the website, guardianvets.com, click the Get Started button, then let them know that I sent you, right? Let them know the Vet Success Podcast sent you. Get 50% off your first month. Don't let another quarter or year happen before you start making changes, because you know you need to. So talk to the Guardian Vets team today and implement a new solution. Finding a job or finding a veterinarian shouldn't be a waste of time. Enter an Offer First. Paul Diaz and team have created something really special with Offer First. Some of my favorite reasons are as follows. Candidates and employers will both have values aligned on the first step, not the last. The sign-up process, quick and simple, no resume required. So if you're looking for a job but you aren't really sure, it's as easy as scrolling on Zillow for a home. And finally, if you have a great match, it's based on your each unique requirements, not random keywords. If you want to learn more, listen to episode 179 with Paul Diaz. We cover all of that. The other exclusive great thing that you're going to get from this ad read and from Paul is I convinced him to give an exclusive discount to listeners of this podcast. So for owners, you're getting a 20% discount on both the placement of any candidate, but also access to the platform. Use VSP if you go to Offer First, or the easiest way is a link in the show notes. So check it out. Associates, those looking for a job, same thing. Use the link in the show notes. Use VSP if you go directly to Offer First. But I will donate and Paul will donate to a veterinary nonprofit of your choosing. So each person that signs up gets a vote. Your votes actually count, which is incredible. And so I'll be reaching out. I will handle that. But there's going to be a donation made for any associate or any job seeker that adds on the platform. We want to make sure that not only does the platform help to make sure that you find a better fit, better culture, better role, but it's also doing good in veterinary medicine. Okay, so link in the show notes is going to take you to Offer First. It's going to automatically apply that, but also use code VSP if you go to Offer First directly. And Offer First is changing the game of veterinary recruiting. I want each and every one of you to benefit from it, so check them out today. Find out for yourself why Shepherd Veterinary Software is the nation's fastest growing practice management software. Why, you ask? Isaiah's reason: Shepherd is innovating and will continue to do so into the future. Founded by Dr. Cindy Barnes, Shepherd is intuitive, super easy to learn, and streamlines practice management. Built for vets, by vets. It works for you and your team, so you have more time to spend on what's most important, your patients. Shepherd automatically updates the medical records, adds services to the invoice, generates discard instructions, and so much more. Bring home more stories and less stress. Grow your practice. Check them out at Shepherd Vet. That is www.shepherd.vet. All right, so there are a lot of great job postings that I want to get to. And so we're going to start off with Bayside Hospital for Animals. Great work-life balance in beautiful Fort Walton Beach, Florida. No weekends, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, no on-call or emergencies. It's an appointment only here. Currently a 2.5 doctor practice, new owner in 2021, bringing some fresh life into the hospital. The new owner had been there for 6 years prior working, so definitely understands the team, the processes, and the community. Lots of investment in people and new equipment. ProSal is the pay structure. Far too many benefits for me to list. Email BaysideVet251 at Yahoo or call 850-864-1857. Join a thriving, growing small animal practice in Vermont on the Quebec border. Full-time ideal, part-time is considered. The idea is to start with yes with the team, patients and clients, and outdoorsmen or outdoor woman's paradise while being able to practice high-quality medicine. Compensation is write your own structure within production capabilities. Literally, it is the owner wants to find the right person and is happy to negotiate, chat through, and find the right fit. If you want autonomy and a boss that enjoys teaching, reach out to Newport Veterinary Hospital. You can email newportveterinaryhospital@gmail.com. North Central Indiana, looking for an oasis in the chaos. Who isn't, right? Come join the amazing team at Fulton County Veterinary Clinic. They strive to foster a fun, fast-paced work environment while providing quality patient care. They utilize the support staff efficiently so that the doctor is available to practice medicine and do what you're trained to do in less time on paperwork, which is great. Lots of investment in new equipment and technology to support you, full-time or part-time available. Small animal and exotics are both seen there, so no ER, no on-call, no weekends, competitive salary with sign-on bonus offered, and far too many benefits to list. Go to Fulton County Veterinary Clinic. So type that in and you'll find the job posting there. Last but not least, join Watertown Animal Hospital. Personable small animal veterinarian wanted for well-established current 5-doctor mixed animal practice in northern New York, which is an outdoors person's paradise. Again, 2 of those. So if you like the outdoors, you can look at Vermont or New York. They have plenty of support staff with 6 CSRs, 6 licensed technicians, 4 animal caretakers, 2 technical assistants, a hospital assistant, a practice manager, and a bookkeeper. Focuses on mentorship and investment on the people and the technology. That's been a strategic initiative by the leadership team. No on-call, 24-hour ER less than an hour away. Salary based on experience, but no less than $95,000. Can be straight salary, pro-sal considered. Want to discuss that with the right person. Tons of benefits. Again, too much to list. Please reach out to watertownpetcare.com for that option as well. So again, if you find a role or a job or talk to anyone and it helps you in any way, I would love to hear that feedback. So please reach out. Let me know what you're able to do. And I will continue to post these. So if you are an owner, reach out to me, let me know. And we'll go from there. And until I hit a capacity of I can't keep recording these, I want to let people know who are high quality owners around the country looking for great help. So with that, we'll talk soon. Thanks for listening to today's show. The comments made on today's show should not be taken as investment, tax, or legal advice. All comments are for educational purposes only. However, you are intelligent enough to make decisions for yourself. So I do encourage you to dig in, learn for yourself, and not just outsource every decision that you make. You should talk to your professional team if you have one before implementing anything that I talk about, but also make sure they know what they're talking about. Push them, question them. That's healthy. That's okay. Oh yeah, and you should probably own and learn a little bit about that Bitcoin thing. The biggest compliment you can give to me is to share the show with a friend or the podcast if there's another episode that you really like. That helps folks find it. That helps it grow. Reviews are critical. The Apple Podcast is the platform that's predominantly used for how people find the show. So if you have 3 minutes, love the show, please head over, give us 5 stars if you believe that's what we earned. And that would help more people find the show. Also, if you're new, go to YouTube. It's a channel. Putting up all the videos there as well. Sometimes it's going to be more interactive. Other times it's just going to be the conversation. So vainly, I want to get 100 subscribers so I get the vanity URL. That's the goal. We're on our way, but not quite there yet. For all of today's links, information, head over to veterinariansuccesspodcast.com. There you can also subscribe via your favorite podcast platform so you won't miss any episodes in the future. And finally, if you'd like more information, insights, or have the ability for your voice to be heard, join the private Facebook group. You can search for the Veterinarian Success Podcast on Facebook or head over to veterinariansuccesspodcast.com. Scroll to the bottom, about your host, click on the Facebook icon. And thanks again for listening. I appreciate you.